Hey there, how you going? I'm Rick Smith, and I'm Rick from Havenwood Tiny Homes. Welcome to Sunday afternoon. As you see, can see I'm actually freeballing it today. The better half has gone to Barrel for the weekend, so she's left me home at home. She says, "Rick, you've got this. You can rattle on and carry on." The only trouble is, like in the all the proper companies, what they do, they have this thing like a buzzer thing. So if you're going to say the wrong thing, or someone's inadvertently said the wrong word, you can actually sort of blip it out. Well, Shani is that for me, and she's not here today, so just you have to bear with me. I'm just going to really restrain myself, and but after 31 years of marriage, we've got this thing going, and after 31 years, it's like body language, And when we're doing our lives, I'm sort of looking at Shani, and she gets this look on her face. It's like, oh, Rico, you're going to the wrong place, mate. Just don't go there. And but the only trouble is when she starts to do that, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going down the wrong path. I've got to think of something else to say. And then if I can't think of something to say, I thought I'll just keep going. But then the look turns into a kick under the table. So ultimately, she points me in the right direction. So which is awesome. Hey, listen, I've also got to sport some glasses today. Thank you. Who owns these? Harmony. Thank you, Harmony, for your glasses. Because there's the camera. Look in the wrong direction. Hello. That's just so I can read the questions we've got today. So heaps of questions, and actually these glasses, you can't actually see the sticky tape on the side there, but because it's clear. But it's holding the glasses together. Rightio. Anyway, yeah. So Shani's gone away for the weekend. She hasn't been away for 3 or 4 years. It's been ages since she's been away with a couple of girlfriends and stuff. And anyway, so I'm thinking she's getting packed. This is Friday night. She's packing the bags and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, she hasn't been away for 3 years, 4 years. What's she going to pack? I'm thinking she'll probably have the going out clothes. She'll have the shopping clothes. She'll have the coffee clothes. Probably a couple of a couple of bottles of red wine in the bags. And anyway, as the night sort of went on, she came out and very proud. She actually took a photo of a bag, and she brought the photo out to show me this photo of a bag that she's packed. And like I said, I thought there'd be a couple of bottles of wine or something in there. She's cracked open the photo, and lo and behold, we've got 6 rolls of wool and some pants. It's just like she loves her knitting. She's going away for the girl for the weekend. She's going to crack open the knitting, and she's going to go for it. Hey, you ready for this? Ready for this? Colour coordinated wool with the clothes. Brown wool, brown pants. Now that's dedication. Love it. Love your dedication, Dale. That's gold. And actually, funny story. Talking about knitting, we've got this thing that what Shani does at night time. She does this thing called flossing, like to the blokes. Like you hear the word flossing, and you sort of think flossing. That's sort of a bit of cotton between the teeth, sort of thing. And but for women, flossing is code for cross stitch. Okay, so flossing is cross stitch. So every night we've got this. Shani's going to do a flossing, and so I'll jump in the bed, and we go to bed at the same time, and I'll just short of going to sleep straight away. Shani's got this thing she does. She first thing she'll do, she'll get the pillows all set up, about 3 or 4 pillows set up on the bed, and then she'll pull over the flossing table. This thing looks like a dentist chair. You got the big light hanging over the top, you like this, and the table, and she'll pull out the flossing table over to close to the bed, and she'll jump up into bed, and then she'll pull the burner over, and she's got the what do you call it, the Google screen happening in front. She'll set up Helga from Russia flossing channel. She'll have that going in front of there, and she'll bring the table over, she'll turn the light on, flossing table, she's ready to start flossing. And by this stage, I'm just about crashed out, ready to go to sleep. And then you get this, can you get my glasses? Well, it's at this point I've got 2 decisions to make. I can either pretend I'm asleep because I'm nice and warm and just don't want to get out of bed, or I can get out of bed and get the glasses. I'm thinking, if I don't get out of bed, we're going to go through the whole resume again of setting up the flossing gear. So, Rick, just get out of bed. It's got to be quicker. Anyway, love my wife, and we get along famously. And so anyway, once I've crashed out pretty well straight away, and about 2 or 3 hours later, it's time to go to bed, and we'll really crash out, and she'll be winding down all the flossing gear, and then at the end of the night, I'll get this, blast! I've lost the needle, and then she'll just sort of say, just straight off the tongue, "Oh, she'll be right. I'll get in the morning." It's like, what the? Are you joking? I've got this live needle floating around in my bed somewhere, and so now it takes me about 3 hours to get back to sleep. So I'm thinking I've got to roll over in the middle of the night and cop a needle in the knee bone, you know. So, but anyway, all fun and games. It's pretty exciting around our house. Hey, listen. Anyway, I'm going to crack into some questions. Thank you for everyone that's fired up some questions. That's really going to help me out this evening, because I've got to do this all on my own. Okay, first question we've had this week. Can I go longer than your standard 7.2 tiny home? Well, in actual fact, we have, now bear in mind our tiny homes are actually 3 metres wide, and our standard length is 7.2. So the answer to the question is yes, we can. We've got an 8.2 we're building at the moment, so 8.2 metres long, 3 metres wide, and of course we go up to 4.6 metres high under our definition of an oversized load. Gives an extra 300 millimetres in our upstairs lofts, which obviously means you can stand up in our lofts. We've also got an 8.4 trailer we've got in the factory. We'll start that in about 4 weeks' time. So looking forward to that one. That's going to be like executive suite for some young developers. So I'm really looking forward to cracking into that. Number 2, how much more does it cost to make your tiny home longer? Okay, so what we've done with that, you can actually see this on our webpage. It actually works out at $4,000 per square metre. So for every square metre you make our standard size, or elect to make our standard size homes longer, it works out at $4,000. So you can actually do your own sums. G'day people, how you going? There's lots of people saying g'day here. Whoa, look at all the things going on. How you going? Anyway, so yeah, so every square metre, so if we're 3 metres wide, you go for 1 metre longer. That's 3 metres by 1, that's 3 square metres times $4,000. That's 12 grand to go extra home. Of course, when you go an extra metre downstairs, you've also got the extra meterage upstairs. So you get the extra metre in the upstairs lofts as well. Number 3, I can't afford the pre-fitted awning and roof at this stage. Can I get it later? Okay, now with our awnings and roofs, they're all custom built to suit the actual trailers themselves. So with all the engineering and design, we have to actually put things in place to be able to install the awnings and the decks onto the actual structure of the tiny home itself. So if we know that down the track you do want to include an awning and deck, but you just can't afford it at this stage, what we can do, we can make provision for that. There's certain structural elements we need to take into place, so we can actually do that under construction. We won't charge for that, but at least down the track, then you know that you can retrofit our awnings and roof on the side of our tiny homes. The standard awning and roof is that we do is 4.8 metres wide and 1.8 metres long. And as I think you've seen, they've actually hinged onto the side of the tiny home. So what you can do, our decks actually fold up to the side of the home, and the roof folds over the top, and we bolt them together for transport. So really easy to set up, and yes, the answer to that question is you can install them later. Number 4, actually where's my pen? I'll cross out the ones I've answered. Is it more expensive to do a flat roof? Okay, now the answer to that is no. In actual fact, what we're introducing now, our standard models now will be coming with a flat roof. So still at 4.6 metres high if you go for our larger models, so it's 4.6 high. So that'll be just our standard will be the flat roof. If you'd like to go for the more, what would you call it, country style look tiny home with the pitched roof, that's the two sloping roofs and the flat area on top, it's probably a couple of grand extra to actually go for the pitched roof. Main reason for that is it is more labour intensive. There's more actual just labour to do all the flashings, and there's gutters now that run all the way around the tiny home. So there's lots of extra materials and extra time with our carpenters to actually build the pitched roof. So when you see our standard costs on our Google page, the flat roofs are standard, and of course then you can go for the pitched roof as an option if you need be. Number 5, I love your Tucker's Rest, but it's just too small. Can I get it, say, 1 metre longer? Well, yes, that is, of course, all of our homes are custom built anyway. This letter also goes on to say that she's an older lady, so she wants just all the levels. So she doesn't want the lofts. She just wants all the living on the ground floor. So we'll have the obviously the master bedroom, lounge, dining, kitchen area, incorporating one in the bathroom at the other end. So you can actually make it longer, no problem at all. So just once again, same square metre rate, work on your $4,000 per square metre. Funny, talking about getting old, it's really quite funny. It's for me, when you know when you're getting old, is like you actually get up 2 minutes before you actually want to go anywhere. You just try to get the blood circulation. It's like, yep, what am I going to do now? And away you go. But it's quite funny, and one of the big things that comes with old age is your body starts to do things that are out of control. Like they've got their own free will, and they just go for it. And one of the things that I know happened with me, sometimes the old eyebrow hairs just go a little bit wayward on me. And it's quite funny. I'll be sitting down and Sunday morning having morning tea with Shani, having a cup of tea, and sitting down and across the table from me, and then all of a sudden she'll start to lean forward, and her eyes will start to focus on something. I'm sort of thinking, whoa, what's going on, Anyway, she'll reach across and she'll see this hair sort of coming wayward out the top of the whole eyebrow, and she'll just reach over like this, and she'll go, like this. Oh, she'll go, oh, missed it. I'll go again, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right there, double. So what happens, of course, when she pulls the first time, the old eyebrow hair goes banging straight back into the rest of them, and it curls up. So next time she goes to grab it, it's all curled up. She grabs half a dozen other hairs and reaches them out as well. It's like, man, it's just like they're attached to your blooming vertebrae. It's like, that's got to hurt. Oh, funny as. But it was the other morning there. I was looking in the mirror, and I walked out into the hallway and turned around, and the hair's coming out of the ears, near knocked the photos off the wall. So anyway, that morning I went to the hairdressers to get a haircut, and quite funny, old mates, he cut all the hair, and number one on the sides, and got it all looking pretty sharp. And then he said, oh, what would you like now, 2 or 3? And I'm looking at my hair. I thought, bro, you already got it finished. He said, no, I've got to cut the hairs on your ears. I tell you what, that's when you know things are getting out of control, when I almost got to use a shaver on your earballs. Oh dear. But anyway, listen, back to the question. Sorry about that. Went a bit wayward there. Number 6, I live in a high wind area. How do you recommend I secure your homes? Okay, with all of our homes, they actually come with hold-down lugs on the actual homes themselves. So where our jacks are to jack your home up and stabilise your home, we've actually got these hold-down brackets. Okay, so what you can do is if you're like 80, 100k winds, no problem at all. But of course, once you get start to 120, 130k winds, the old 4.5 ton tiny home is going to start to get the moves and shakes a little bit, and especially the awning roof. So if you've gone with our optional extra of the awning roof and the deck, which weighs in total about 400 kilos, like 120 knot wind, is probably going to use that as a big sail. So Couple of options is you can, what we do in our front paddock there when we had them on display was I augured a hole into the ground, a 300mm diameter hole, about a metre, 1.2 metres deep, beside each of our 4 anchor points on the tiny home and 2 points on the deck. Okay, so we just poured then concrete into the hole, threw some chain into the wet concrete, and then of course once that's all set and dried, we drove the tiny home across the top of the holes, and that are concreted now, and lift the chain up and just simply de-shackle it onto the base of our tiny home. So that actually secures your home. If you've got just medium high winds, what we've done for one of our clients is we just basically got a couple of 6-foot star pickets, drove them in just like this, so they meet at the top on each corner of the actual tiny home itself, and then from there de-shackle the chain from the star pickets up into the edge of into the bolt on the bottom of the deck and the awning roof. So that'll just stop the uplift in the winds. Like I said, it's only 400 kilos, so there is the potential of it just blowing, because it's not. Yeah, if it's just sitting on the ground, it's got to be anchored in. Most awning roofs on houses, of course, they're anchored into concrete. So it's definitely something that's viable to do. Number 7. Do you do skylights in your tiny homes? Well, the answer to that is yes. On our pitched roofs, so on the sloping roofs, we use a window, just fixed glass windows that go on the side roofs of on the side slope of our tiny homes. But I will not put a flat skylight up on the flat part of the roof. Just because first and foremost is as much as we'll waterproof it and flash it and all that, it's just a recipe for disaster. The other major reason is because when you get the flat glass like that, the sun just hammers it all day, and a curtain inside that's just not going to cut it. The heat travelling through the actual glass is already in your home at that stage, so to have a curtain underneath that's just not going to keep the heat out because the heat's already in your home. So the other big main thing is condensation. If you don't open your homes up, if you don't keep the windows open during the day, the big factor you're going to get is condensation actually on the skylight, because chances are you want to position over your bed, and you're actually just going to get water dripping on your head all night. So personally, I won't put one in the flat section of the roof, but definitely we can do them on the sloping part of the roofs. Okay, now, how much would it cost to deliver one of our tiny homes up to Coffs Harbour? Well, Coffs Harbour, I believe, is around about 700 k's away from our factory. It works out, what we charge is $2.80 per kilometre. So at 700 k's, $2.80 a kilometre, it's going to be approximately $2,000 for delivery up to Coffs Harbour. So that'll just give you an idea. So wherever you are in Australia, Queensland, Victoria, Western Australia, I had a quote for one over to Western Australia. It was about $9,200 to deliver a tiny home over to Western Australia. Of course, you can't put them on a train or on the back of a truck because they're just too high. So they've got to be towed over. If our transport company can get a backload, of course they'll pass on the savings because now they're bringing a load back from Western Australia, not just driving back empty. There is an opportunity to get a reduced cost if we can get a backload. But once again, do your sums from Albion Park, go on the Google, $2.80 per kilometre. So that'll give you a rough idea on the delivery costs. Are you doing any shows in regional New South Wales this year? This is where my side kick would really come into play right now, because the answer is yes. I know I'm going to shows. The dates of those, I don't know. We're going to Canberra. What's it called? Somewhere near Canberra. We've got a show happening there. We're going to the Orange Field Days later in the year. We're also going out to Mudgee in July. So around about mid-July, got the Mudgee Field Days happening. They weren't on last year. We really enjoyed the show the year before. So this year, she's all happening at Mudgee Field Days. The homes we're taking this year out to Mudgee, we're going to take out the Tucker's Rest, and also for the potential for the wineries out there. So for the B&Bs, the overnight stays, the Tucker's Rest, I think it's just going to fit in perfect out there. And we're also going to take our the Jackson demo model also out to the Mudgee Field Days. We sort of picked that up a bit. Really looking forward to hitting the airways with that one. It's going to look great. It's a fantastic looking home. The structure's all finished now. The external's finished. Just waiting for the kitchen to go in, and she'll be all good to go for the Mudgee Field Days. Number 10. I notice you have 2 hooks on the top of some of your homes. What are they for? Okay, now, with our tiny homes, they're built to the legal height. Our Emerson model is 4.3. Okay, so it's built to 4.3 high, and our tiny homes are legal, so they're at the legal height. But unfortunately, some of the power lines or consumer mains aren't at the legal height. So just as a bit of a safeguard, we put these I call them ski ramp hooks on the front of our tiny homes, inside insulated conduit, which will run right across the top of the home itself. So inadvertently, if some of the power lines or consumer mains are too low, it'll just nicely throw it up across the top of the roof of the actual tiny home, and we can just skip through without taking everyone's power out. Of course, with our 4.6 models, on the net, we've got the RMS website. It tells me all the routes I can go and travel legally at 4.6 high. So I know how to get to ultimately our final destination with our tiny homes, especially our tall ones. Number 11, double figures. Here we go. What do you find is the most efficient form of heating in your homes? Now, I don't know whether that means water heating or hot-cold heating. So, I'll actually give the answer to both if you like. That'll kill a bit of time. So, otherwise I'll get the sack for not talking long enough. Now, listen, in the heating, let's talk water heating for starters. The most efficient form of water heating in a tiny home, because it's all about power usage, and keeping things simplistic, and especially if you're going off-grid. Okay, so one of the big things with the off-grid living is that you've got to use as little of your battery storage as possible, because you're going to be relying on solar. Okay, so with that, we've gone for gas heating. So we use a Rinnai gas hot water system, a 16 litre. These are the same size units I used to stick in the high-rise when I was building high-rise. So they're effectively a great unit. It's hot water on demand. If you're not using your hot water, you don't pay. With obviously electric, it's constantly keeping it hot, so you're using up your battery storage. So gas, I find, is the most efficient form of water heating in your tiny home. But once again, a lot of people sort of forget, especially people that may live in the city, that when you go to have a shower at night time, you're using gas, you're using gas for your hot water, electricity to run your pump, and then of course then you need a rainwater tank to actually supply the water. So that's just keep that in mind, that you've got to have all 4 services up and running, otherwise you're going to be having a cold shower that night. Okay, what else have we got here? Actually, the other big thing is too, I was actually chatting to a couple about this today, is that on all of our homes, they're actually designed to catch rainwater. Okay, so we've built the roofs with falls and whatnot to gutters. So we have gutters all the way around our homes. So you're actually collecting the rainwater. If you, when you're doing your research on a tiny home, make sure they do have the provision for gutters to collect the actual rainwater off your roof. Otherwise, to buy rainwater in, if you're going off grid and you're out in the bush somewhere, you're talking 250, 300 bucks a truckload. So, and you'll soon go through 5,000 litres of water. So, just make sure, whichever company you're running with, make sure they've got provision to collect your actual rainwater itself. So. Okay, what else have we got here? What form of waterproof? Water heating. Hey, there's that question again. Water heating. Actually, no, I spoke about the heating, but I didn't speak about heating your tiny home. Now, if I had a choice, if I was, once again, I was chatting to a couple today on this, if I was going to spend money on a form of climate controlling my tiny home, I'd go for heating over air conditioning. Firstly, with the aircon, you're going to start using power for your aircon, but a wood fireplace, okay, is probably going to be the way to go. It's firstly you can go and grab some. You're already out in the bush. You go and grab some sticks from out in the scrub. You know, throw them in the fireplace. They're all good. But with the actual reverse cycle air conditioner, is what that'll do with the heating on that. What that's going to do, because it's not a dry heat, it's air conditioned heat. What you're actually going to do, you're actually going to encourage condensation inside your tiny home. Okay, so if you're using air conditioning, and of course you've got your windows closed because it's cold, the condensation is going to build up on your windows, and if you don't open the windows during the day, you get heaps of condensation happening on all your actual windows. But with a fireplace, so in other words, with an actual log burning fireplace, okay, that's a dry heat. So you're not going to create any condensation. It's only the only condensation is probably going to come off your own body heat, but that's not going to be enough to actually smash your tiny home with condensation through all your windows. So personally, I'd definitely go for a wood burning fireplace, okay, because it's a dry heat and you won't get the condensation in your actual tiny home. Well, that sort of pretty well does it on the questions there this evening. But the funny story, of course, Shani's gone away for the weekend, so I'm looking after the tribe, and well, the elder kids have obviously moved out there with the husbands, and they're not at home anymore. But I had the pleasure of looking after my 4 foster children on the weekend. Well, wasn't that exciting? Lord have mercy. They actually, it's they were good kids. They actually did really well, and they actually helped me out a bit, which was gold. And although they sort of got my number, because they know once I hit the borough at 7 o'clock, I'm out for a good 3 hours. And we went out it was out Saturday night, and I hit the kids up when we got home. I said, "Kids, make sure you go to bed shortly, right?" Yeah, Dad. Of course, tongue in cheek, they know I'm about to crash out for 3 hours. And I woke up about 11 o'clock and come out, and the telly's still blaring, the kids are still watching TV. So, get into bed, you kids, crikey, oh dear. It's yeah, kids are kids. But yeah, back in my day, you could help the kids, and but these days, you're not allowed to do that anymore. You're not allowed to smack your kids because it's the wrong thing to do. So it's probably a timeout these days. And with kids these days, it's like, kids, you're going to misbehave, I'm going to give you timeout. And the kids are thinking, you beauty, I'm going to my room, I'm taking my Google, and away I go. Happy days. But funny story, when I was a kid, I grew up on 5,000 acres out the Warrumbungle. So it's like just, yeah, I was sort of, come home from school, and I never come back in till dinner time, and but I probably had plenty of energy, and if they had invented the word ADD when I was a kid, I would have had it, and they would have had me dosed up on drugs, But anyway, I managed to get through that period of life. But it's quite funny. I'd go out and I'd be out in the sticks, out in the bush, on the moto, or climbing trees, or ratting around in the old utes and stuff. And of course, inadvertently, I'd have a few stacks and a few spills here and there, and broken bones, heaps of gash and wounds and stuff like that. And I'd come home, and the first thing Dad would do, he'd see me, regardless how bad the injury was. It could have been a fractured skull, it could have been broken arm, it could have been a big gash, could have been, it doesn't matter. Dad first, like a reflex actually, just reach straight over to the apricot tree. He'd rip a branch straight off the tree, strip off the leaves like this, he'd just go whoop, like that, and belt straight around the button. And from then on, whenever I hurt myself, I just knew it was probably going to hurt more when I got home. So, but Mum had this she had this strap on the side of her hip. It was just stuck on a pants, It just seemed to be there. She'd walk around, and she had this strap hanging off the side of her pants, And of course, which, like I said, I had plenty of energy as a kid, and it'd just be like a reflex action. I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably speak a bit of cheek or do the wrong thing, and Mum would just like it's like them gunslingers, you know, like Mum would just stand up like this, and she'd just go whip straight off the side of the hip, and in the same motion, just go whack straight around the butt. And anyway, funny story there. One day, I was playing up or doing something wrong, and she's going for the hip. She's going for to grab the what do you call it, the belt off the side of the hip, and it's not there. And she's like, she's lost there just for a moment. She's just lost, and it's like, and then she looks at me, go and get the belt, boy. Anyway, and I thought she was just playing with me. She said, go and get the belt, boys. So anyway, so I tromp on up to a room, open up the wardrobe, and here's this mixture of belts, right? So which belt am I going for? We've got a big thick belt, and we've got the little thin belts, and we've got in between. I'm thinking, which belt's going to hurt the least? So I've opted for the big fat one because I figured she wouldn't be able to swing that as quick. Oh, Christ, I love my mum and dad. But I tell you what, one thing I don't take back is the discipline they gave me. I tell you what, it's definitely shaped me where I am today, and it's definitely pointed me in the right direction. But hey, listen, I've finished with questions. I've rattled on enough, and hey, check the merch out. Havenwood Tiny Homes. If you want some merch, give us a call. We've got merch going on now. We've got some caps coming. So if you want to be part of the Havenwood team, look, give us a call and we can hook you up. And also, this Friday, first time we've done this in the new factory, we've got to actually allow people to come on in. You don't have to have an appointment. Now, we're not going to be able to let you up into the building zone, of course, and chances are I won't be there to be able to give you time to have a chat and rattle on about tiny homes. But if you want to come in, just come up for a sticky beak, have a look around. Shani's got also part of our overall shop. We're just getting it all together. It's not finalised yet, but we've got lots of merch and other stuff there for sale. But if you'd like to come up and just look at the day-to-day running of our tiny homes in Havenwood Tiny Homes, come up for a sticky beak on Friday, 10 till, I'll say 2 on Friday. Come and have a look, introduce yourself, have a chat. Non-committal, of course. Just come and have a chat, and I might be floating around. And we can have a bit of a chin wag, you know. So anyway, thanks again for your time. I think I managed to get through, and hooroo. See you next week.